When the veil is lifted, say something like Wallstreet bets, shows the entire world that shorts are in essence a way of gambling for a company to fail, and these hedge funds bet tons of money on this, and we can make them crash if we do a certain thing. Once that's revealed, all of a sudden, it's taken away. Okay. This, Dan, if you're not familiar with Dan Price, I have mixed feelings. I think it's a wonderful thing what Dan Price did. Dan Price was basically the manager, he was the CEO of a company, and he decided, hey, you know what, I'm going to take all my pay away, and I'm going to give every single one of my employees $75,000. That's going to be their salaries. So each one of you gets $75,000. Anyways, I have mixed feelings. A, he did a great thing. All right, Dan Price did a good thing. It's nice that he decided he's going to pay every single person that much money. Fantastic. You know, they really got the $75,000. Absolutely, they did. Every employee of his company has a $75,000 salary, and as a result, he took a hit on his own stocks. That being said, he has not given them co-ownership in the company, so he's also like a darling child right now of the entire left, because he tweets out a lot of really good things. He's constantly tweeting out all this stuff about like, here's how much people are paid in Denmark. This is what we need. We need this in America. He does like a lot of good kind of sounding off, but he's not a socialist, all right? If he was, he would turn his company into a worker co-op instead of paying them above living wage. That being said, am I really going to shit on a CEO who decided to take a monstrously huge pay cut to pay all his employees $75,000? No, I'm not. All right, that was a good thing. That was a good thing. Good thing, Dan. Anyways, in Dan's endless tweets, he's got an amazing thread on the stonks that y'all got to hear. All right, you've probably heard for a while, either from myself or from the internet now, because everyone seems to know that Wall Street is just a massive casino. It's a massive casino for rich people. 90% of stocks are controlled by about 10% of stock shareholders. So it's a minority controlling the world. The difference between this casino and, say, a casino is that our entire economic system is built on the foundation of this. Not only are all the companies that provide us the jobs that we need to clothe ourselves, house ourselves, and eat with are all on the stonks, but as well, so are our retirement funds, including union funds, union pensions, 401ks. They're all interwoven into this wonderful little thing. Now, for the longest time, the average layman, normies, didn't really know what the stonks were, because A, we couldn't afford it, B, we didn't have access to it. Then some things came along, some apps like Robinhood, and it's like, hey, you have the ability now to play in the stonk market, go have fun. These apps weren't trying to bring democracy to the people, they weren't trying to allow like equal playing field, they were just there to make the monies. And we know that because as soon as things started to get out of control, aka when the GameStop fiasco started happening, immediately Robinhood was like, oh shit, we gotta stop the poors. The poors are getting wise to the game, see? Let's slow that down. They've still been doing that. But anyways, all that being said, it has awakened a lot of people right now. I know a lot of people out there suddenly have realized for the first time that the stonks are a casino. But it's a casino in which we're all interwoven in. It's a casino where if people fuck around with it, aka 2008, millions of people can go homeless and or die. That's the kind of casino. But all this being said, once the casino life is over, there are some important things. We need the stonks. The problem isn't the stonks, you see. The problem is bad people. It's a few bad apples. It's a few bad apples ruining the system for everyone else. That's it. It's not that the whole thing is a scam. Or could it be? Let's see. There is no connection between the stock market and reality. Airlines spend 96% of free cash flow on stock buybacks for a decade, then cut 90,000 jobs as soon as trouble hits, and then they got a $50 billion bailout. Let me slow this one down for everyone so you understand this, because this is where you are participating. You as a taxpayer are participating. Doesn't matter if you're a European, a Canadian, or an American. Guess what? I looked this up. All of them are doing the same thing. Every single one of these countries is doing the same thing. Airlines spend 96% of their cash flow on stock buybacks. That is to say, they're spending the money that they could be spending on, I don't know, the company, on employees, on airplanes, on maintenance, on gasoline, on all the things you think, on stock buybacks. At which point, they fire people, and they're constantly complaining about how the airline industry is in shambles. They fire people, in this case, 90,000 jobs, and then they get a bailout from the government, aka you, aka the taxpayer. Now that sounds like a criminal enterprise. That sounds like robbery at the highest level, and for the enrichment of the very few, only for the people who own shares in those companies. Under capitalism, this company should collapse. Under the free market, this company should collapse. If things were actually free, if the deck wasn't stacked against you, this should be egregious. Like, if you hear this, you should be like, what the fuck? I've always thought in my mind that the reason all these airline companies are constantly failing is that it's just such a cutthroat business. It's such a hard business. It's so hard. The profit margins are so thin. That's why they're constantly cutting corners. That's why they removed all the things that used to be free. Do you remember if you flew in a plane, you used to be able to get free food, you used to be able to get free booze, there used to be some level of comfort, and now on airlines, it's like, hey, if you want to have a cracker, we're going to charge you for that. If you want to have a drink, we're going to charge you for that. If you want to have water, we're going to charge you for that. If you need to leave your seat sometimes, we're going to charge you for that. There's flights in Europe that are so insanely cheap that they were actually proposing in Europe that people would have to be able to stand in airplanes. It took actual regulators saying, no, you can't do that. You can't have people standing in airplanes to cut corners to do that. But at the same time, what is going on? What is going on? They're not failing because they're it's just razor thin margins or anything. They're failing because they're actively involved right now in this entire scam, in this giant robbery. GE promised its CEO a huge bonus if stocks hit $19. It didn't. So GE redid its contract so the bonus kicks in at $10 a share. The CEO cut 20% of its aviation staff to increase profits and raise the stock to $10. His bonus, $47 million. If it goes up again, he gets $270 million. JCPenney furloughed 85,000 employees. May 10th gave CEOs $4.5 million bonus on top of the $17 million in pay. They went bankrupt, laid off 15,000 people, closed 150 stores. The CEO left with $4.5 million bonus after the stock fell 88% in her 2 years. Boeing spent almost all of its cash on stock buybacks over the prior decade. In the past year, they cut 27,000 jobs. It also fired its CEO over 2 deadly plane crashes and the ensuing cover-up, and gave them an $81 million exit package. On January 6th, when the mob stormed the Capitol, the stock market went up 250 points to a new record, handing the richest 1% an extra $300 billion. Also on that day, a new report showed employment dropped for the first time since April, and then a record 3,900 people died of COVID. Albertsons, America's second largest grocery chain, profit is up 256% in a pandemic, stock at record high, owned by private equity. CEO made $29 million last year, fired all California non-union drivers to replace them with gig workers in the no benefits minimum wage. You could go on and on. You could go on and on, case after case, example after example. The whole thing is set up to perpetually make rich people richer. Now, I'm not saying that was the founding principle of any of this. That's not the founding principle of a corporation. Corporations were not created in order to concentrate the wealth of the entire world into the hands of just a handful of white dudes. That wasn't the point of companies, but they've grown to such an extent now that that's basically what they're doing. They're enriching a very, very small select amount of people. And at the same time, when anyone reveals the scam, if you will, when the veil is lifted, say something like Wallstreet bets, shows the entire world that shorts are in essence a way of gambling for a company to fail, and these hedge funds bet tons of money on this, and we can make them crash if we do a certain thing. Once that's revealed, all of a sudden, it's taken away. It's taken away. It's like, well, yeah, but that's the game. It's only for some. So ideally, everybody, share that. Share this information. Tell people. Tell your friends, tell your family. Because I got to give it to Wall Street right now. They're doing a great job at spreading class consciousness. A lot of people for the first time, thanks to Wall Street bets especially, I should be thinking that Reddit thread, have shown the entire world, oh wow, so this whole thing is a massive scam. I mean, people have always kind of known, yeah, it's a casino, but they don't know how interwoven this whole thing is. And it gets really, really, really dark when you add bailouts to the whole thing. Because you remember the bailouts, right? Right now, they're fighting back and forth. The $1.9 trillion stimulus, they're fighting back and forth. $1,400 checks for the average American. That's something we got to talk about. We got to make sure that, like, hey, we need means testing. We got to make sure that people above $50,000 aren't getting free checks. We got to make sure that people aren't just getting handouts. Hey, come on. If we give everyone money, what are they going to spend it on? Are they going to spend it on Dogecoins? They're going to go off and buy a bunch of Dogecoins? We can't make that happen. We have to make sure that everyone understands what's going on here. While at the same time, let's give massive bailouts to cruise lines. Cruise lines. something that is just useless. Who does that benefit? Like cruise lines, billions of dollars. Airlines, billions of dollars. But of course, when they tell you the airlines need bailing out, and a bailout, by the way, is you, the taxpayer, are bailing out these companies that should have failed. And if you're not bailing them out, you're giving them loans at almost zero interest. The government is doing that, and it's been doing that for years. The zero interest loans to these giant companies, these companies that should be failing under capitalism. Like these companies aren't operating in the way they should. They're not turning a profit. They're spending all their money, 96% of their money on stock buybacks while they fire all their staff. That's not how a company is supposed to operate. There's a reason it's failing, but it's okay because they know at the end of the day, the government's going to bail them out. And who's going to be left to pay for the whole thing? You, the taxpayer. That's it. If you want us to advertise your channel or work, please go to weareserfs.com and email us a 20 to 30 second ad, and we'll take it on to the end of one of our videos to help promote your leftist channel or progressive something. Whatever you do.
To our gods, I'm Raph, Xander Corvus, and Schlatsky, we shall build golden idols in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, you have our undying fealty. To our lords, Jeffrey Lamb, Trevor R., Hans Josephen, C. Bartlett, Jimothy K. Meeple Beeps Jr., Bisexual Black Gamer, and Trofox, we shall carry your banners onto the battlefield. To our Knights of the Round Table, Josh Mickelson, Dylan Byte, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, Todd Lajeunesse, Political Puppy, Jimmy Bignuts, Andreas Chitoro, Good Poon Hates Cops, That's Solid Poon Then, Dr. Zayas, Yoppie, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Thomas Barrington, J. Fraser Cartwright, Goofalankius, Melissa Murphy, Nicholas Marks, Alexander Thaler, Ali Rada Jafer, Alex Gauvin, Radical Maniac, The Great Houdini, and Callie Kotka. We salute you.